Orelvis Martinez will join the big squad in the Toronto Blue Jays and have his first appearance today.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. I'm Braden Wasco. He's Carter First. You can follow us on Twitter, Braden5 Wasco, Carter First too, as well on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Blue Jays as well. Here on YouTube, if you're new, drop a subscription. As we notice, 70% of you guys aren't subscribed. Really helps us out, keeps us at the top of your guys' page. Hit the little bell if you want to get notified when all of our videos are posted. And the Blue Jays drop a 4-3 defeat against the Boston Red Sox today in a little bit of a one that was starting to give me hope. This lineup had a little bit of juice today, and they just couldn't really pull it out, Carter. I think let's start with this. Of course, Orelvis Martinez joining the big squad. We'll get into that in our second segment, as there's sort of a lot of implications that come from this. And then, of course, in the third segment, teeing up Game 3, a must-win game. But we'll get into all of that coming up, Carter. Before we get into everything, I don't know, man. How have you? I feel like I haven't asked you this in a while. How are you doing, man?
Outside of the Toronto Blue Jays baseball, I'm doing pretty good. But going down 2-0 in a series to the Boston Red Sox definitely does not make me feel good. Tyler O'Neill might just be the greatest player to ever face the Toronto Blue Jays. He's giving me like Ryan Mountcastle vibes, which I just hate to say because he has 3 home runs in 2 games. It's tough, man. You go off of such a high off the Cleveland Guardians series, but this is why we don't overreact ever about the Toronto Blue Jays, because this happens all the time. So that's why we said we got to see more consistency from this offense, from this team in general. Haven't seen it at all. And yeah, this game sucked because we were up 3-2. Then Tyler O'Neill comes up in, I think it was the 7th or 8th inning, hits a home run. And then, then we get a Rafaela. Like, oh my God, man. The number 9 hitter, I know he's hitting like 450 and is like since the start of June. But still, the number 9 hitter is the guy doing damage. It sucks because that happened in the 7th inning. Yeah, like it's tough in Blue Jays land, man. Chris Bassitt goes out and has a great day again. It's just like the same old story that we talk about all the time on this podcast. So, the vibes are not very high for me right now.
No. There's a lot to get into covering this game. I want to start with a positive here because there isn't many. Ernie Clement has been playing like an absolute beast. I know we've gone over his stats the last couple of days, but I mean, the guy continues to produce another double, which scores Addison Barger and Justin Turner in the bottom of the second. Huge. I mean, gives the Blue Jays a lead, which we thought they were going to build on. Of course, not so much, but Ernie Clement, again, I'll throw it back to you, but he's just been an absolute stud over his last, 10 games, I believe?
Oh, geez, that's what it seems like. It seems like he's been raking for a lot longer than that, but yeah, it's only been a small sample size. And those Boston runs were in the 8th inning, so it gave the Toronto Blue Jays 2 opportunities to get runs. Kenley Jensen just never really had a chance against the guy's 36 years old, still dealing. And yeah, like a closer that just took advantage of the Toronto Blue Jays lineup. But back to Ernie Clement. He's just raking, man. He's slugging now 1,000 over his last 7. He's hitting like 600. Like, what more can you ask for from the guy? Just all I asked from John Schneider, we'll get into later on in this podcast about some of the decisions he made today. But just God forbid, keep Ernie Clement in the lineup. This guy is on the loose. He's raking. He is probably the best hitter on the Toronto Blue Jays right now. So keep this guy in the lineup. Again, I'm even fine with hitting him 9, just as long as he is in the lineup, coming up and having a chance to bat for this team. I'm going to be okay with it. But other than that, Spencer Horwitz, I mean, he had a leadoff double. They don't score just in the most typical ever Toronto Blue Jays fashion. Had a lot of good at-bats, had a walk today, had a couple deep fly balls. Davis Schneider, okay. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of just like whatever, honestly, at this point, because the Toronto Blue Jays lose. I always say this on the podcast. I'm kind of tired of these little victories, these moral wins, I guess you could say. But we need to actually see some wins in the standings, especially against AL East teams that the Toronto Blue Jays continue to struggle against, honestly, since last season.
Yeah, Carter, every day, me and you, we sort of we do a game recap because I think that's why people come here. They want to hear thoughts and opinions on certain guys, on certain events that happen. And we go over certain player statistics every game, guys that get a hit or 2 hits or whatever. And yeah, it feels like we're sort of taking like you said, those small victories out of that, which maybe it's too little too late for. And does it matter in the big picture? Not really, honestly. Like, oh, great. Horwitz had a good day, but the team lost. Oh, Ernie Clement played well. Good for Ernie, but still the team lost. So I'm getting sick of talking about these guys, giving everybody props when necessarily this team as a whole just doesn't deserve it. If you're not going to win baseball games, your fans aren't going to sit here and be like, my takeaway from that game won't be, as a casual fan going to games, won't be, oh, wow, Ernie Clement had a really good game today. No, it'll be the Blue Jays scored 3 runs and lost 4-3 to the Boston Red Sox. That sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just it just pains me because I know, talking to people, even like my mom, who's a huge Blue Jays fan, she goes, "Oh, another loss." It's not, it's not what we go over and say, "Oh, great game from Ernie Clement." It's the Blue Jays lost another one.
Yeah, they got to start getting in the win column. These games are running out. You got to win these against these AL East opponents, and not even just the AL East. These teams that you're going to be battling against in the wild card down the stretch. You look at the Twins, you look at the Royals, and now the Red Sox. You're down on all of these teams, so you don't have the tiebreaker. That means you're going to have more wins than them, and wins are very hard to come by right now. But I want to get into the one big topic. We actually had a guy named Matthew. I'm not going to say his last name just in case, but he DM'd us as soon as it happened. He's like, what is going on? Why did he do this? So let's just get into it. George Springer gets George Springer's pinch hits for Addison Barger. I get it. It's a lefty-lefty matchup, but has John Schneider watched George Springer play baseball like at all this season? Like, even like you could say the last 7 games, you could say the last 30 games, you can say the last 72 games. George Springer has been one of the worst hitters on this team. I don't care what the scenario is. You are never pinch hitting George Springer ever. And look at your bench options. You pulled up Orelvis Martinez, which we'll get into more in the second segment. You have him available. I kind of get that one. I guess you don't want his first at-bat in the MLB to be a pinch hit appearance, but it's going to be a lot better than George Springer. And the big question mark for me was Danny Jansen. Why are you not pinch hitting Danny Jansen in this scenario? You have Dalton Varsho on first base. This is going to be one of the biggest scenarios you have in this game. You know Kenley Jensen is coming out in the 9th inning. It just blows my mind that John Schneider has not learned from watching George Springer play this entire season. It's starting to make me think that John Schneider, Addison Barger was playing, I believe, in right field today. It's almost like John Schneider thinks that if you throw Danny Jansen into pinch hit, he's going to have to play right field. It's like he can't switch him out after that. Danny Jansen probably would, honestly, screw it, throw him in right field at that point anyway. But it's like he doesn't know the rules of baseball, or he just has some sort of love for George Springer that I will never understand. But it's so frustrating when you just put George Springer in situations where he has not been successful in this entire season. It is so frustrating to watch when John Schneider makes these mind-blowing clown decisions.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Danny Jansen hasn't been the best hitter of all time over the past few games, but he's still a way better option than George Springer right now. Me and you were sitting on the couch just mind-boggled. I think option 1 is you leave Addison Barger in and let him fend and see what he can do. Option 2 is put in Danny Jansen, who's probably better off in that situation. Option number 3 for me is, I guess you aren't going to put Orelvis Martinez in there, but I would, at this point, I'm like, let's see what the kid can do, more so than George Springer. He goes up there and I expect a strikeout every time, or a ground ball, or him rolling over. I expect nothing from George Springer. So why, in a 1-run ball game with a runner on first, a chance to take the lead or at least tie the game, you don't go to Danny Jansen, or at least let Addison Barger just take that at bat? Me and you were sitting there where we were both saying the same thing. I don't think this is rocket science here. And it makes it seem like, we're testing computers or landing planes out there. That's how hard these decisions are.
Yeah, so for me, I'd probably have Danny Jansen over the Addison Barger thing. But again, that's not the point of this. It's that George Springer is the last option. I'd rather have John Schneider himself go out there at this point and take that at bat. He could catch in the first game of the series. You might as well let him hit as well. But looking at this George Springer plate appearance, I think it was a slider he had low in the zone, just absolutely whiffed on it. Then he had another slider inside of the zone, I think he fouled it off or whiffed on it. Can't remember exactly what happened. And then he gets a fastball up that is middle. It's middle high, but pretty close to being middle. And he's so late on 93. It's absolutely insane. Pushed it to right field and obviously has a fly out. I thought I would have bet money that he was striking out in that at bat. I would have lost apparently like I would in all my other bets. But still, the point is George Springer was probably the last person that I would ever put in that situation, especially how the season has gone. I don't know what it's going to take for John Schneider to finally realize that George Springer is not the answer offensively to this team. And I think that's why this front office has pulled up a million Buffalo Bison's players, because they're producing a lot better than a lot of these regulars are on the Toronto Blue Jays. It's a thing that we've just beaten to death at this point, but it's not getting better. So we're going to have to keep talking about it when he keeps making these decisions.
Well, and Carter, the funny thing you brought that up is the 93-mile-an-hour fastball high in the zone to George Springer that he's laid on. And you brought up that the AAA Buffalo guys are doing better. They brought this up on the broadcast today, actually. And I love listening to the broadcast because they get these like little inside tidbits, maybe that they had a conversation with. And sometimes a lot of people don't catch them, but I got an ear for that because I've, listened to Paul Edmonds for the past 3 years on the Jets broadcast. And I now sort of pick up on those things. But Buck was saying how Addison Barger was talking to him about why he thinks he's doing better his second time around with the big squad. And he said, I've just been knowing to stay on the fastball. I've just been looking for it. If you're on the fastball, you can adjust everything else, but you have to be on the fastball. And that's exactly George Springer's problem. I mean, he's got lots of problems, but his main problem is that he can't catch up to any fastball ever.
It just sucks, man. Like I got nothing good to say about George Springer. So I guess we'll get into some positives about today, because I'm sick of talking about George Springer at this point. Let's go into Chris Bassitt. Chris Bassitt, it just continues to be one of the most consistent guys on the Toronto Blue Jays. He's got his ERA down to 3.52 on the season. His career ERA average is 3.49. So, I mean, he's right pretty much what is advertised for Chris Bassitt going into his stat line. 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks. Most typical Chris Bassitt start of all time, probably, right? Like he had a little bit of jams he was working out of earlier on in the game, but gave you a good chance to win a game you probably should have won, especially since you got 3 runs off of Tanner Houck, right? Tanner Houck. Yeah, I finally figured it out on the 3rd episode of this week. But yeah, Tanner Houck, a great pitcher. The Blue Jays actually did decent against this guy for how good he's been. He came into the game with a 2.09 ERA. Obviously, that would have went up slightly, but a guy that 3 runs at this point should win you a lot of baseball games. Fortunately, the bullpen comes in, can't really get anything done. But again, you definitely do want more than 3 runs. But Chris Bassitt, again, nothing bad to say about this guy. I actually went into, I think they brought this up a little bit on the broadcast, but I did a little bit more of a deep dive. Chris Bassitt in his last 6 starts has 36 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, 36 Ks to 11 walks for an ERA of 1.50. That's just exactly what you're looking for from Chris Bassitt. Absolutely insane stuff over the last 6 games. Just tough that this guy just continues not to get wins, gets another no decision today. Just absolutely nuts from the Toronto Blue Jays team.
Yeah, and you know what, Chris Bassitt, I mean, this is how he's been all season. Nothing's changed since opening day till now. He's the same guy, which is, I think, a testament to how good of a veteran he is. And you know what, another guy, Carter, that me and you have talked about a little bit just off the podcast is we've been seeing very steady outings from Nate Pearson lately, and he looks really good. I really like the way Nate Pearson pitches. I mean, he did give up 2 hits today, but no earned runs. I just really like the look of him. I think he's attacking hitters. I don't think he's trying to, pitch around them or move the ball out. He's just going to go in there and throw hard, try to do what he can do. And I don't know, at the end of the day, I don't mind throwing this guy in a little bit of higher leverage. I know the bullpen's depleted. Maybe instead of going Henny Cabrera, who actually had a decent outing today, but I would like to see a little bit more Nate Pearson, to be honest with you.
Yeah, over his last 7, like he's been okay. Like he has 4.5 ERA, 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. But over the last 15, that goes down to a 2.93 ERA, 15.1 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. A guy that, the bullpen is depleted. You don't have Yami Garcia, you don't have Eric Swanson, who you thought you might have going into the season. Jordan Romano is obviously hurt on his way back. So you're pretty much left with Chad Green, Trevor Richards, who was unavailable today. And the next guy up is probably Nate Pearson, which is, I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, but a guy that out of everyone on this team right now, I think you've got to kind of roll with Nate Pearson. They decided to go with Brendan Little today. That worked very well against Rafael Devers. which, I mean, that at bat was just horrendous by Devers there. But then he comes in for the 8th inning and then gives up a moonball to Tyler O'Neill. And then Rafaela, who just continues to be the Jays killer. I think he has like 5 hits now in these 2 games. Just a tough outing, but you're kind of limited with what you can do with this bullpen. I mean, for me, you probably got to add on. You get Houck out in the 6th inning, doesn't finish 6 innings. You got to try to get to this bullpen. I know it is a good bullpen, but good teams can hit against good bullpens. But I guess that kind of takes us into the decision. Are the Toronto Blue Jays a good team? I think most of you listening to this podcast probably know our takes on this. Just not exactly what we're looking for. But other stats that I have today, Dalton Varsho's 1 for 4. Justin Turner looked decent today again, going 1 for 3. I think he had a walk as well. A run scored. Aston Barger,
2 runs scored for Turner.
Say that again?
2 runs scored for Turner.
Oh, sorry. 2 runs scored for Justin Turner.
Big day.
So, yeah, I mean, a pretty good day for Justin Turner. But again, I'm like I said, I'm sick of these little victories. Other than Chris Bassitt, I'll give Chris Bassitt his moral victory there because Chris Bassitt can't hit the ball, unfortunately, for the Toronto Blue Jays team. But offensively, I don't care, man. You got to win baseball games, and they're not doing it right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. And honestly, Carter, I just want to get into talking about Orelvis Martinez because a guy that very well could inject some life into this offense. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump right into Orelvis Martinez.
Take care of all your vehicular maintenance needs with our partner, eBay Motors. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your vehicle, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. All the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Whether it's a new spoiler, new brakes, a new alternator, or you just want to deck out your ride, eBay Motors will have everything you need. They're super easy to deal with. You're very knowledgeable, and their experts give great advice that are specific to your needs. To keep your ride or die alive, go to ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available for U.S. customers. Today's episode is also sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play fantasy sports because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is very simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entries in as little as 60 seconds. This game, I got to ride with my dogs. I have Ernie Clement going more than 1.5 total bases. I got Spencer Horwitz more than 1.5 total bases, and I got David Schneider more than 1.5 total bases. You got to ride with the Buffalo Bison's boys. They're the only ones providing offense for this team, so that's why I'm hammering them. Also, Brian Bayo, he's just not that good. And as a Toronto Blue Jays fan, I just refuse to watch the Toronto Blue Jays get swept by the Boston Red Sox, so that's why I'm hammering all these more thans for the Buffalo boys. If you know which players are going to perform on specific nights, this is a no-brainer. Download Prize Picks and start making your picks today. You can download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100.
So, Carter, big Toronto Blue Jays news today as Orelvis Martinez gets called up to the big club. I am such a huge fan of this. Me and you have been talking about this. I swear it feels like, 2.5 weeks right now? Just sort of when we'd see him, if we would see him soon enough. And sure enough, all it takes is an injury to Bo Bichette to get this guy into the majors. I'm really pumped about it, to be honest. Bo Bichette out 10 days with a left calf sprain, I believe it is?
Right calf strain.
Right.
So pretty close. Yeah.
Okay.
Just wrong leg.
But no, I mean, obviously not a good thing for Bo Bichette. You never want to see one of your big guys go down. But I think this gives an opportunity, like we say, to these AAA Buffalo guys. And I don't hate it. I think let's just see what they can do. I mean, I love what I'm seeing from Horwitz. I love what I'm seeing for Barger, as well as obviously David Schneider can never do anything wrong in my books, it seems like. And then Ernie Clement as well. So, if these guys are going to produce, keep them in the lineup. Baseball's not that tricky. If the guys are hitting, they should play. That the end of story for me. But Carter, on just Orelvis Martinez and Bo Bichette's injury, what are your just overall thoughts?
Yeah, it gives Orelvis Martinez a chance to actually play baseball games. If you're going to pull up your number 2 prospect, he better be playing at least 2 out of 3 games in Bo Bichette's absence. But saying that, I want Nathan Lucas to be pulled up. I want Will Robertson to be pulled up. I want Brian Servin. You might as well go there at this point. Paul Maggiani. Let's just pull up everyone. Like, I don't care at this point. The Buffalo Boys just continue to hit. It doesn't matter who they are. They've been raking for the Toronto Blue Jays team. And this is exactly what I want to happen. I want Orelvis Martinez to just be killing baseball, smashing the hell out of baseballs. And I want it to be that you can't send this guy down because he's playing so good at the MLB level. Hopefully he can translate some of his power from the AAA team, the Bisons, to this MLB team because we need it so badly. And Orelvis Martinez is hitting a ton of home runs right now. So just going over Orelvis Martinez's stats in AAA quickly, he has 235 at-bats, he has 61 hits, 30 of them are extra base hits, which is a huge number for the Blue Jays. 16 home runs would lead the team by 5 home runs, a 260 average, 46 RBIs, an 867 OPS, and a 119 WRC+. This is a guy that we as Blue Jays fans have been waiting for a very long time. Should get the opportunity to play a ton in Bo Bichette's absence. And hopefully he just continues to hit for power because the Blue Jays need this guy to hit for power. They need home runs because they have not been getting home runs from pretty much anyone on this team.
Yeah, Carter. I mean, I look up and on this lineup, you got Dalton Varsho with 11 and Davis Schneider with 9 and then Vladdy at 7. And then it just falls off the face of the earth. So yeah, you need another power guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great when Dalton Varsho and David Schneider do hit home runs, but they're not guys that are going to be doing this all the time. So if Orelvis can come up and somewhat be that guy, I'd be over the moon. I mean, I don't know when Bo Bichette comes back. I don't know what you do with some of these guys. But I think the biggest thing at the end of the day is that, like you said, if you're going to pull any of these guys up, they cannot be sitting on your bench. They have to be getting playing time. Otherwise, just send them back down, let them continue to develop. I think this is a no-brainer. But yeah, I'm just a big fan of the move. And Carter, we also had a couple other roster moves, so I'll send that back to you.
Yeah, so we had a couple more, pretty much just one, to be honest. It was Ryan Burr has been moved to the MLB team. Yemi Garcia obviously was placed on IL, and that meant Brendan Eisert was optioned to the AAA team. Ryan Burr has only pitched 1 2/3 innings with the Toronto Blue Jays team. So this is a depth piece of bullpen that is very depleted. He should be good. He had a pretty good ERA in AAA this season. I believe it was just under 3.9. So a guy that hopefully can be successful for this Blue Jays team and a bullpen that, again, struggled in today's game or yesterday's ball game and hopefully can do better down the stretch. But overall, I mean, the bullpen, we can say whatever we want about the bullpen. The bullpen's been pretty bad this season, but the overarching thing is this offense. Hopefully, Orelvis Martinez can elevate this offense even more. For me, I want Addison Barger in the lineup every day. I want Spencer Horwitz, Ernie Clement, Davis Schneider, Orelvis Martinez. And then the only regulars I really want playing are Dalton Varsho, IKF, Vladdy, and then Bo when he's back. I guess you could throw Jano in there as well as a catching option. On this point, throw Brian Servin in there too. See what he can do. Like, I'm fully in on these Buffalo Bisons boys because they're the ones that are raking, the ones that are getting hits. You look at Vladdy today, went 0 for 4, did not get a hit. Unfortunately, the Buffalo guys got a ton of hits. Justin Turner's been looking a little bit better, but let's see what these guys can do. Let's see if we can hit for a little bit of power and get some momentum and hopefully not get swept by the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, and I think what it comes down to at the end of the day, Carter, is we just got to play the guys that are going to get this baseball team wins. And I mean, yeah, we can pray and hope that Justin Turner and George Springer turn it around, which it does look like Justin Turner's on the right path to turning it around. But I don't care. If those guys aren't going to do it consistently, I just don't care if they're in the lineup or not. Kevin Kiermaier, I mean, I don't ever want to see that guy take another swing ever again, to be honest with you. It is horrible watching his at-bats. Don't get me wrong. Amazing fielder. I will never take anything away from him like that. And if that's the one guy you want to have in your lineup as a good fielder and you want that piece, you can put him in the 9 hole. I'm fine with that. I really am fine. But it is painful watching him as well. So I didn't want to just hammer George Springer and Justin Turner without also saying that Kevin Kiermaier has not been good either. But yeah, consistency, Carter. I mean, I don't know. We've talked probably everybody's ears off about consistency, but this team just can't find it.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at again, I want to throw it back to the Buffalo Bison's boys. That's the only thing that's making me excited about this team, other than the starting pitching. Spencer Horwitz is hitting like 350. Addison Barger is 4 for his last 10. Ernie Clement is on the loose. He is hitting like 600 with a 1,000 slugging. David Schneider hits home runs from time to time, has very clutch at bats. Orelvis Martinez can join this little. I don't even know what the quintuple is. Out it is for the five. It's a five sum now. Five sum of the Buffalo Bison's boys. They're completely taken over.
Yeah.
They have the majority of the spots on this team that I want to see playing every day at this point, which is absolutely insane. I think we are going to be at this point halfway through the season? I mean, I was going to think we were in a lot worse situation. I was going to be feeling a lot worse about these Bison's players. But these Bison's players are the most exciting players to watch by far on the Toronto Blue Jays. It's absolutely insane. I don't think George Springer would be at this point in his career. I knew it would go down. Didn't know it would go down this quickly. Kevin Kiermaier, I sort of knew. It just sucks that we're paying him $10.5 million to play very good defense. And it's really like you have to look at it kind of under a microscope just because this Toronto Blue Jays offense is just not hitting baseballs. So that makes it tough. IKF, another surprise. Just a very weird spot to be in for Toronto Blue Jays baseball at this point that pretty much nobody could have predicted.
Yeah, Carter. And I mean, there's only so much that we can say about George Springer and all of them without, giving the boys that are hitting props. And I don't know if they're all living together because they keep saying how they're all, the three of Horwitz or Ernie and Davis were all roommates or whatever. So I wonder if maybe they should just buy a house, the five of them, and have a little, I was going to say frat house, but I know they're not big drinkers. So maybe they have like a gaming house or a golf house or something. They should just start a YouTube channel, the five of them. I don't know what it is, but it is fun. They're just guys being dudes playing baseball. It's just the best.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with production, right? And we're finally getting production from these guys. Like I said, I'm horny for Horwitz. I'm all in on Davis Schneider, obviously. Hopefully, Orelvis Martinez can join those guys. Addison Barger's been fun to watch. He's stealing bases, too. Didn't think that would be happening. But yeah, here we are. This is kind of the spot we're in for Toronto Blue Jays baseball. And I don't know if we've been, like, for this podcast overall, the morality, it's like been sort of neutral. I don't know. Like, it's getting like it's sort of what we expect at this point. You're gonna get good pitching. Like again, we say we don't want to take these little victories, but at least watching your younger guys play, there's actually something to kind of look forward to. You look at a future that you have when you look at George Springer just striking out and rolling over baseballs. Like if that's what your future is on the Toronto Blue Jays, you're going to be in a tough spot. And like the bullpen, again, we probably could be a little bit harder on them, but they have been injury riddled this entire season. Pretty much everyone in this bullpen has been injured at some point. All of our good bullpen arms, especially Yimi Garcia, Jordan Romano, Eric Swanson, like Chad Green was out for a while. Just insanity, man. We need maybe a trade will happen. Maybe something will happen there. But again, that's only speculation. Let's try to focus on what we can fix right now, what we can control, and that's who is playing offensively. And I think that's what the Toronto Blue Jays and John Schneider need to focus on to make sure he's actually making good lineups to give this team a chance to win.
Yeah, and I mean, just before we sort of move on here, Carter, you talked about our sort of mood on this podcast, and I'm sort of in the same boat with you, where it's like I can come on here yelling and screaming, but I feel like eventually it just sort of loses its luster a little bit. And I mean, I've sort of gone a little bit docile right now, where it's just like I don't know what to say anymore. Or I know what to say, but it's hard to get angry because it's exactly what I expect every day of baseball. Once in a while they'll surprise me with a nice game, but overall it's the same team every day. So hopefully these Bison's boys can really do something for this baseball club and maybe get us a win. We're going to talk about today's game, sorry. But Carter, I do got to throw it back to you just for the Locked On 24/7 streaming channel.
Yeah, just a quick shout out to Locked On 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today, Amazon Fire TV's channel app, expert analysis on pretty much any league you can think of. Perfect opportunity to head over there. So yeah, we got some just other news to recap. A tribute to somebody that is one of the best baseball players of all time. We'll get into, and then just a preview of this last Toronto Blue Jays game against the Boston Red Sox. Hopefully, avoiding the sweep. We're gonna get into all that coming up next.
Today's episode is brought to you by Policy Genius. A lot of life is unpredictable, but a good life insurance plan gives your family a financial safety net to protect against some of the unknowns. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It makes choosing the right policy for your family easy and quick. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online to let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. As you guys know, I always talk about it. I think being safe and knowing your options before anything bad happens, I think is the way to go. I think planning ahead is obviously the right way to go, and Policy Genius helps you do that. Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com.
Here on Locked On Blue Jays, we pride ourselves in getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's really year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to battle for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A-plus rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season that you need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. See the link in the episode description below.
Well, Carter, just before we sort of get into today's game, huge news out of the baseball world. The passing of Willie Mays, just a very, very sad day. Of course, born in 1931, just passed away yesterday, as we're recording this today. But just sad news, Carter. I mean, of course, me and you never got to watch this guy play, but we do. Me and you play MLB, the show, every single year. And I know it's always a special time. He's one of those guys where his card comes out in the game, and you rush to pick it up, or Topps throws out a throwback series of baseball cards, and he's one guy you always look for if they release him. Just brutal all around. I mean, what an absolute career, but yeah, just pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to quickly go over his stats, even though you're right. We didn't get to watch him, but I played a ton of games with him in MLB, that's for sure. So a batting average of 301 over his career, 660 home runs, 3,293 hits. Just insane, man. One of the best players to ever do it. Center fielder that just was very good defensively, very good offensively, a complete ball player. Toronto Blue Jays could use a guy like this. Definitely, like, so badly right now. A guy that can hit baseballs. Are you kidding me? That would be absolutely insane. But yeah, rest in peace to Willie Mays. Just a great baseball player, and I mean, a great life, obviously. He lived over 90 years old. I don't know exactly how old he was, but yeah, a very long life for Willie Mays. So hopefully he went out painless, and hopefully he does rest easy.
Yeah, Carter. And, there's not much more we can say. It's brutal, but he obviously lived a long, happy life playing the game he loved. So we'll leave it sort of there. But, Carter, it's time for this Blue Jays to step up, and they need to stop the incoming sweep that is the Boston Red Sox, because they are looking to crush the Toronto Blue Jays spirits, and the Jays need to do something to stop that. And what will that be? Maybe will it be Orelvis Martinez? Who knows? Maybe will it be Kevin Gausman going out there and shoving? I don't know. I'm very not sure what to expect with today's game. I'm really excited to watch Orelvis. I think that's going to be key number one. I know I'm at work tomorrow, but I'm probably going to try to turn it on in the studio at some point during the Sea Bears basketball game. But Carter, I don't know. Do you have a good feeling about today's game?
Yeah, Brian Bayo, he's not that good. Let's be honest. He has over a 5 ERA. A guy that Orelvis Martinez has probably seen his career as well. But before I do head into kind of this preview, I just want to ask you about Orelvis Martinez. Where do you think he's going to play? I know they said Bo Bichette was probably going to be replaced by IKF Ernie Clement, mostly at shortstop. Orelvis obviously has played second base, third base, and shortstop. Where do you want to see Orelvis Martinez in this last game against the Boston Red Sox?
Yeah, to be fair, I just don't necessarily know. When you have IKF, I think you keep him at the shortstop position and you throw Orelvis at 2. I think you just shorten up his throws, take the sort of the defense a little bit out of his mind, a little bit more. I mean, obviously he's still going to have to make plays, but I think as much as you can focus Orelvis on just hitting the baseball and trying to get the job done there, I think that's what you have to do. Do I know that? Do I have any insight? No, but with what's going on, I think you have to keep IKF at short. And yeah, hopefully just Orelvis can focus on hitting the baseball.
Yeah, my answer to that question is I don't care at all. I don't care where he plays. He could play catcher for all I care. As long as his bat is in the lineup, hopefully he can get some hits. As you said, focus on the offense. I don't hate that take at all. But yeah, I don't, as long as Orelvis Martinez is in the lineup, as well as the rest of the Buffalo boys, I don't care where they're playing. They could have the worst defense of all time. I'm fully willing to sacrifice all of the defense to actually hit the baseball. If we end up somehow losing 12-11 tomorrow, I'll be a little bit upset, obviously, but realistically, it'll be a fun baseball game to watch at that point. I can't really be that mad. So hopefully, Orelvis Martinez does have a great game against the Boston Red Sox, can take advantage of Brian Bayo and prevent the Toronto Blue Jays from getting swept by the Boston Red Sox, and hopefully kind of keep them in this wild card race. But saying that, just wanted to thank you guys for watching. We always appreciate the likes, comments, all the debates we have with you guys in the comment section. We do have an announcement. We were going to say it today, but we had a little bit of troubles with it. So it will probably come out at some point this week. If not, we'll update you guys probably on Twitter, Instagram. It'll be somewhere. You guys will definitely know about it at some point in the near future. So just before we do head out, I want to throw it over one more time. Locked On 24/7 streaming channel. You want to watch some NBA recaps. Obviously, that season is over. The Edmonton Oilers get another win today, forcing Game 6. There's obviously the NFL, which I'm in a fantasy draft right now, but I'm a little bit ridiculous. So WNBA, there's always a bunch of stuff going on. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, a lot of TV coverage actually. So any of that analysis you want to get, perfect opportunity to head over there. Yeah, I need to win so bad. For my mental health. I don't know how I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow if the Toronto Blue Jays get swept by the Boston Red Sox. And then we have an off day. Thank God. Maybe that will help me out. But then we got the Cleveland Guardians again. So, I mean, it doesn't get easier for the Toronto Blue Jays team.
Yeah, Carter. But hey, just think, we got a slow pitch game Thursday. You have a slow pitch game Friday. I wish I was playing, but of course I'll be working that day. And then we have Beer Olympics on Saturday. 24-year-old Braden Wasco goes number 1 overall pick in his Beer Olympics draft. Just throwing that out there, eh?
Yeah, I went number 3. I mean, I'll take the underdog status, I guess you could say. If that's even underdog status. I mean, yeah. I went 3 out of I guess there would have been 8 picks, so right in the middle. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to hopefully having the Blue Jays game either on the radio or maybe I'll pull a TV outside. That's just how diehard we are for the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll definitely be watching parts of that game, if not all the game, and we'll definitely have the recap on after. Probably yelling at the Score app as we get the updates. Yeah, it should be a fun weekend. Hopefully the baseball can also help us out and make it the best weekend possible. But with the Toronto Blue Jays, don't really have my hopes up too high. I just want these Buffalo boys to continue raking. I don't really care at this point. I mean, Vladdy, the All-Star game, I guess. Vote for Vladdy. Vote for Spencer Horwitz at this point. Screw it. You know what? Vote for Orelvis Martinez. I don't care if he's not even played a game yet. Just vote for him as well. Let's get some of these Blue Jays boys in the All-Star game. Just wanted to say thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.